Would you guys please welcome Roy and Kathy to Westminster? So Roy has been coming here for, how many years, Roy, have you been? Around 20 years. And Kathy, at least the past 5. Yeah. So I've become friends with Roy and Kathy. Each of us as teachers have become friends with them as we've gotten to know them through the years. And we always look forward to this time. Yeah, it is one of my favorite events that we do. So it's a delight to have you guys back today. And just the other reminder I want to give you guys, let's remember that if one of your fellow students gives a really good point, it's not the time to applaud, clap, and cheer. Because this is the time for us to have a conversation with them and to learn from a worldview that's different from most of us. Maybe some of you are more sympathetic towards them than others. And we want to have room for everybody to have an opportunity to hear about that. So let me pray for us, and we will start. Jesus, thanks for this time together. We thank you for Roy and Kathy. We thank you for their friendship with us and their willingness to come here every year into a spot that's very different for them and that holds a lot of different beliefs than what they hold. We thank you for their boldness and courage in coming into the space and inviting us to ask them questions. We pray that you would guide us now in this time, that it would be one that is where the presence of your Holy Spirit is with us and is felt and recognized in all that we say and all that we do. We pray, Jesus, in your name. Amen. All right, so I'm going to start us off with a question. As they begin to answer, feel free to walk up to the mic. It's going to take somebody who's bold to do it because, look, guys, here's what happens. We always end up with people still standing in line towards the end who want to ask a question. We don't have time. So the sooner you can come up front, the better. Don't be scared. Somebody be courageous. Here's the first question. What type of evidence would you need to prove to you that a God exists? And I'm going to let you guys take it away. I'll be back here.
This is on, I think, yeah.
Yep.
Solid evidence. It would have to be falsifiable. In other words, it should be something that could be tested, verified. The usual, the scientific method, something. I'm not sure how to answer that. That's a good question. I would change my mind. If I saw solid evidence, I would go where the evidence led me. Mm-hmm.
Well, here's my thinking on that. We know now, ever since the scientific... Okay. We've known now, ever since the scientific revolution came several centuries ago, we know how to find out the truth about the world, and it's through science. Think of all the things that we found out we've learned since then. And you had hundreds of centuries that went by without people knowing how the scientific method, without knowing how to understand the world. Now we know how to do that. And that's the way we find information about the world, is by science. We learned that a long time ago during the scientific era, the first one in European history. So that's the main reason I do it. And that's the main reason I think I believe stuff. There has to be evidence for it. You have to believe something in the world about how the galaxies work and all that. You have to look at the evidence. That's astronomers have had for all the years they've done that. So that's how I do it. That's why.
Going off of that, just out of curiosity, do you believe that science and religion can coexist, or do you believe that they inherently contradict each other?
Okay, well, they can coexist if you just want to make them coexist, but I don't think they can coexist, no.
Okay.
Because science is the way to find out about the world, period. That's all we know. Anything we read in ancient books doesn't tell us anything about the world. It tells us about the people that lived back then. But people back then, 200, 300,000 years ago, before we were here, they didn't know anything about the world except what they believed in their churches and so forth.
Thank you.
Okay?
So I just want to start by saying thank you guys for being here again.
Sure.
I really like learning about other people's worldviews, so this is really cool for me. So I just wanted to ask you guys, does it ever, I guess, make you feel, I don't know, I guess maybe nervous or scared that there's nothing after this life?
No, not at all. It's just like not being born. How was it before you were born?
Hey.
Oh, I'm sorry. How was it before you were born? Did you like being non-born? That same way it's going to be after you're dead. You're just not around anymore. It's like for us, being in the 18th, 19th century or something. People are here for a certain length of time, and then that's it.
I think I fear death an average amount. Like, I don't want to go there. But whatever happens after we die, I don't fear it more than I think the Christian. No, I don't. I don't. Not the Christians I know. I think it's kind of an average amount.
Okay, thank you.
You guys can also walk out this way to make it easier if you want.
Hi. So you said that to understand like Christianity or a certain religion, you need like solid evidence, such your example as like the scientific revolution or science. So because, well, me personally, I believe that science is, since it is made by man, it is in some ways false. Because if you need like a certain amount of evidence that man has concocted, wouldn't that reasoning of a God or higher power, wouldn't that be false in and of itself?
Well, I think most people have a natural affinity to want to think that there's something after their life. And they start, when they're children, their parents start sending them to Sunday schools. And that's the main thing that you can tell about a person, whether he's a Christian or not. You ask somebody your age or whatever, did your parents send you to church or to Sunday school? And if they say yes, well, the child it's in there. It's in his brain, and you can't get it out. Or you can if somebody relates more to intellectual and factual things of the world. You can. I mean, I don't have necessarily any questions about the world. I don't know how it started. Nobody knows how it started, and I'm not concerned about being dead because I don't think there's anything like heaven. I think it's a ridiculous idea.
I think one of your questions there was about, how do we know what's true? And I have come to the conclusion that the best tool we have for that is human reason. Even religion was created out of human reason. They figured out, this and then that. I think human reason is the best we're going to do.
So you would say that human reason is the authority of morality?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess I have a question going off of that. I mean, do you believe that, like in natural selection, evolution, that's how we came to be where we are now? But then with that idea, then that's kind of, natural selection is based off the idea of survival, right? Yes, kind of. So then how could we say that we have reasonable and rational thoughts if we've come from natural selection, which is not necessarily based on reason and logic, but based on our survival and our ability to survive?
So the question is kind of, I'm perceiving it as, how can we trust human reasoning? Mm-hmm. As it came from this long evolutionary process. So I would say that we use that as a tool to get to conclusions, and you test that conclusion, you test that conclusion. So if you cook your scrambled eggs in a pan and you leave them there for 10 minutes and they're burnt to carbon, well, okay, this is what happens when I do X. So I think that's a simple example, but we test we test our assertions or conclusions based on what we see happening in the real world. And I think that a morality that is based on that which contributes to the thriving ascension entities, we can test that. That gets tested all the time, over and over and over again. We can see the results. So essentially, we do use human reason, as flawed as it is, to get to conclusions that can be pretty sound, I think.
Yeah, that's why we got these things, right? We didn't just find these laying in our backyard, right? Somebody invented it. Of course, there's countless things like that. The lights in here.
Another device that we invented.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be a pain.
This is old person syndrome. I don't think I even turned mine down. How embarrassing. This is
So whatever we have that's like this, makes us comfortable and everything comes from science and human reason. And humans, one thing about that I've learned about people, they don't naturally think reasoningly. They think that they have they use their back part of their brain. That they don't use the frontal lobe, which is the part that has reason in it and everything. And that's not a natural thing for us to do. Our natural thing is to do what our ancestors did long ago. Something you see something coming and you don't like it, you move away from it. And now we can tell a little easier whether somebody is a threat to us and whether they're not. So it's a little easier today. But back then you had to react right away, instantly. If somebody animal was waiting to get you, and you had to act according to what your instincts tell you.
That's good. Thank you, guys. We'll move on next to Lucy. And I just want to give a quick remark. Feel free, those of you who are standing in line, to ask any follow-up questions that you might want to with regards to what Roy and Kathy have said, to continue to build on what other people have already asked. So don't feel compelled that you have to ask the question that you're in the line for. You can continue the conversation by continuing the dialogue.
Mr. Oberman, you said in your article, Why I'm Not a Christian, that basically you're more fascinated by and more inclined to believe in essentially the Big Bang Theory and about how dust particles created human beings and life on Earth. I was just wondering what about the Big Bang Theory makes you more inclined to believe it rather than the existence of a creator?
Well, I just look at the evidence, and I'm not a scientist, so I don't know the answer to that. But I would listen to people who have experience teaching it and learning about it, doing study on it, and I would talk to them to get the best information we have about that. I can't know that. I'm not a scientist. But I believe it. While all the other scientists that talked about the Big Bang, that's the reigning theory right now. It could be wrong. They don't know lots of things. Scientists normally don't say anything about, well, this is a fact. They say, this is what it looks like. And it may change in the future, depending on we get more knowledge or something in nature changes.
Thank you.
Oh, I think just kind of building off of the question that she was asking, because I was kind of going to ask something similar. So have you ever heard the phrase, I don't have enough faith to be an atheist before? So you said earlier that you, if you saw enough hard evidence, you would change your mind. And, for me specifically, I'm a Christian because I see, an overabounding amount of evidence to prove that there is a creator. So, looking at the Big Bang, or, at the beginning, when you're looking at science and you see all this, complexity, even when you're in, biology class and you see, all of this, stuff, it seems so intricate and complex, and it's if this one thing doesn't work, then nothing else works, and it destroys the whole system and it doesn't work. And why specifically do you think that the world coming together after millions of small particles hitting each other seems to make I can understand why you wouldn't specifically believe in the Christian God, but why is a form of deism not something that you could why specifically do you not see it as an option that someone at least divinely planned something and then could have potentially left it? Looking at the complexity, when nothing else ever in the history of ever has ever, nothing else has ever came from nothing besides the Big Bang, if that's not a replicated process that we can visually see anywhere else, why specifically is that not considered, why would you not view that as hard evidence?
Do you believe in the Big Bang?
I mean, I think that there could be a form of that because, like, I think that, like, God could have, like, spoken it into existence and then it appeared. I think that there was some intentional planning involved. Now, I'm a Christian personally, but I would be more inclined to see some form of deism than atheism if I wasn't a Christian, because I see, like, other evidence, like in the Bible with, like, geographical, like, evidence and other stuff places. But, yeah, I mean, I could see a form of something appearing, but I think there has to be a source from which that thing came from, I think.
Okay, I might think that too, but I don't know what it is.
Roy, can you use your microphone?
Yeah, I think complexity is confounding. I mean, you're like, wow, how does all this complexity arise? And the answer is, I don't know. And the answer that there's a God that put all this into existence doesn't seem like the best answer. The universe has certain, they call them universal constants. And sometimes religious folks will say, well, look, if God hadn't set these constants to these exact things, we wouldn't be here. And to me, we are what is the natural result of these constants. That's why we're here. I don't see that God improves the answer or the understanding. The idea of deism, I think a lot of the founding fathers were deists. They said, there was a God, set it all up, and then it just runs. And as he said, Rory also said, I don't know what started this. I don't know what the nature or the source of reality is. But God doesn't seem like a good answer to me.
Thank you, Audrey. Let's move on to Gabby.
Look at it this way. Ancient people couldn't figure out how we got the way we have, or how human beings came in existence. But now we do. Now we do. We have the best evidence is in evolution as to where humans came from. So,
have you guys ever experienced anything that you couldn't explain with logic? Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah. Whenever I read a book of science, I don't understand it. Yeah.
I've had some really weird experiences, and I did kind of explain this. I guess I have a sleep apnea, and there's different kinds of sleep apnea. One of them is central sleep apnea, and I have had extremely vivid experiences. Most of them were auditory, but some of them were more than that. And I think it's brain malfunction. So that's the closest I've ever come. Stuff happens. I don't know why a lot of times, but
Nothing like that ever happened to me.
no. Lucky.
No mystery.
No,
I haven't
no
found
mystery.
any mystery,
Yeah.
except what I didn't know and have to read and find out in the book.
Right. Sometimes the answer is just, I don't know. But in this case, I think it was a brain malfunction.
Thank you.
Sorry. If you believe that human reason is the best source, like, for your morality, then how do you objectively reason your way through hard topics like rape or abortion? And then how do you also objectively condemn others, like maybe other atheists, who don't have the same reasoning as you as what is objectively good and bad?
Well, I can. Let's see. Make it a shorter question, please, and then
If you disagree with another atheist on what's good and bad, and how do you find the objective authority to speak on those hard topics?
Well, I think that the easiest way to explain that is to mention how human morality came around. So many people, Christians, say, well, God gave us that. But really, we got it from human societies. Human beings, from the beginning of appearance of a human being, their natural state is living with others, living with the group of people. So you have an in-group, and then you have a lot of out-groups out there of other people, and they fight it all the time usually, okay? But the thing about the in-group is, it's what you think is really true, and it works for you. And that the way we have changed over time is through evolution, biological evolution. That's what the evidence shows. Okay?
Thank you.
Hi, again, it's so great to talk to you guys. I love learning about other worldviews. One question I've had, and I'm sure you've had this question before, but how do you explain human consciousness? Where did it come from? Do you guys personally believe in right and wrong, or are those just social constructs? How do you explain that?
So, where did human consciousness come from? That is a very complicated topic.
Yeah.
For myself, I believe it's the functioning of our brains. So, if you have brain damage, things don't work the same. You know, so I think there's kind of an organic source for human consciousness, though others disagree on that one.
Yeah.
So that was one question you asked, and there was a second one about.
Yeah, so I was kind of asking about human consciousness, where that comes from, and also, do you guys believe in like a right and wrong, or are those just social constructs?
Well, to call it a social construct is kind of like I think a slightly derogatory term.
Yeah.
But I do believe that we discover and have been discovering a better morality as we went along. I wouldn't agree with a lot of the moral reasoning from 100 years ago, from 200 years ago. And I think it's the task of our society to discover better moral reasoning as we go along and in community. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, that makes sense.
And we do that so the group can be better.
Yeah.
Because humans were originally group living with other, well, they still do. A hermit is the worst thing you can do to a person. And back in old times, to send them out in the forest, don't come back. So the worst condition we can be in is to be without human people like ourselves.
Yeah, and I guess one really quick follow-up to that is, why do you think humans from the beginning of time have always had this propensity to find like some sort of god or something to worship?
The explanatory power. People want to understand. If there's a lightning bolt, where did that come from? If you don't know anything about weather, if you don't know anything about... See, this has given rise to the concept of God in the gaps. So people used to explain, and some people still do, explain disease as a function of, oh, God did this to you. Or, God doesn't favor you. And now we know about genetic disorders, we know about germs, and God as an explanatory mechanism recedes. So the more we know, the more it recedes as an explanation. So, is that
Thank you, guys. I'm going to move to
Thank you so
Josiah now.
much.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah. Hey guys. So my question is kind of two parts. First, do you guys hope that there is a God, or that one day there will be satisfactory proof for you guys to believe in a God? And second, do you hope that there's higher meaning to this life?
I want to point out that he stands there like he's about to run. He's wearing a track and field shirt, and he looks ready to go. Do I hope there's a God? Not especially, no. I'm sorry, there was more to, do I hope there's a God?
Yeah, or just like that there will be satisfactory evidence for you guys to believe that there's a God someday.
It would be great if there was a life after death and that I learned the answers to everything then. That would be, to me, that would be a great thing. I don't assume that's true, and I don't really hope for that. I mean, it would be a nice thing to never die, but I don't hope for that, really. And I live a good life without it, so.
Yeah, same for me.
Hi. So I think you kind of already touched on this a little bit, but I was kind of wondering where, what motivates you? Like, I live for God, and that's what motivates me to be kind and love others. And so I was kind of wondering where that came from for you guys.
If you didn't believe in God, you think you would be bad to everybody?
I think I would struggle to be kind when it's hard.
To be what?
To be kind when it's hard.
Well, that's true anyway, right? That's true for everybody. Sometimes it's difficult to be kind. You get angry and so forth. I just think morality evolved over time, just like human body did, as groups, because we're social animals. And we live in a group, and I'm just talking about I don't know, maybe 1,000 years ago or something. Humans have been here for between 200 and 300,000 years. Homo sapiens have been here. And the best way they found to live is to live with other people, because there's dangers that they have to come together and work to kill, animals and so forth. So that's what I think about it.
I think it's an important constituent of a good life to behave kindly, decently, honestly towards others. Morals equal civilization. Civilization equals life. Sometimes it's harder than others, but we only get civilization and the blessings of civilization, like healthcare and roads and whatnot, insofar as we behave morally towards each other. And, there's a lot of not moral, and we would agree on defining a lot of this behavior that we run across as immoral. All of us, probably. There's a lot of that out there, but we create the world we want to live in when we behave morally towards each other. It's about building every day, all the time, the world we want to live in, we want to leave to the next generation. So
I guess a follow-up. When, I guess atheists, someone who doesn't believe in a God, when they don't follow those morals, like the guidelines, how do you I don't think defend is the right word, but how do you encourage them when they don't have any purpose to contribute to?
Sometimes we punish them and put them in prison.
Huh?
The law is there for that particular reason.
Okay.
That society has found a way how to punish bad behavior that hurts other people. Now, sometimes some people believe that an individual can do something wrong just in his own house. I don't know that that's possible. But men beat their wife, that kind of thing. We can't stay together if we act like that, okay?
We shun people too.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody I know who's an atheist is well behaved.
Right.
And there's some famous historical evidence of that, and we condemn that for sure.
Good. Thank you, guys. We'll move on to
Thank you.
Kylie now.
Hi, I think my question's probably going to be kind of dumb compared to everyone else's. But when I look at marriage, I see it as like a covenant between two people under God. So when you guys look at marriage, do you see it as like, I don't know, like just a piece of paper or a contract, or just how do you look at it?
I look at it as a contract between two people that live the rest of their life together. It has nothing to do with God.
How long have you been married?
I've been married this year 50 years.
Congratulations.
Yes, I'm that old.
Okay,
It's mainly
he beat
because
me.
of my wife, I think.
Yeah, right. I've been married 35 years. So, and in fact, atheists have a lower divorce rate than Christians. So we do take our relationships very seriously. This is important.
Thank you.
It's a good question.
Hi. Would you accept a combination of the Big Bang Theory and God, like God kind of orchestrating it?
I don't see God as necessary.
I don't see God involved in that. We don't know what's involved in it. And there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't know. You don't have to make stuff up.
So I have a question and then a follow-up question. So my first question is, what are your guys' thoughts on like the Bible? Do you think it's like a fictional book? Is it partly true? What is your stance on that?
I would say that it's an interesting book. And this is an old joke. If there's a Bible in your house and nobody's read it, it's a Catholic household. If there's a Bible in your house and some people have read some of it, it's a Protestant household. There's a Bible in your house and somebody's read the entire thing cover to cover, it's an atheist household. There have been now this isn't real common, but it's fairly common for atheists to know a lot about the Bible. So I think it's an interesting book. There are several in my house. they've been read, not cover to cover, but
Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. Go ahead. But I agree
Yeah.
with what you're saying.
So my follow-up then is the Bible has like accurately predicted over 2,000 different prophecies that have like come true. Could you guys just like speak on that, please? Because like scientifically, the chances are like low, I guess you could say. So I just wanted to like know.
there are biblical scholars who are not Christian anymore, and they disagree with those kinds of assessments. And so I think there's a lot of interesting things in the Bible. There's some good things and there's some bad things in the Bible. And, Ephesians 6:6, slaves, obey your masters. In a lot of versions now, it's servants, obey your masters. But when the Bible gets something so wrong, it's, there's wins and there's losses in there. So that's how I see it. That's just how I see it.
Yeah, well, there are good people and bad people, and I don't think it makes a difference if you're a man or male or female. It's about how you were raised mainly and how you deal with people. And I think you learn as you get older how to get along with people better. At least I've found that. I had a hard time getting along when I was in school, in grade school, so forth. And now I look back on that and realize how stupid that was. Why I just didn't go along and play with that kid that wanted to play with me.
I'm sorry, did you have another question?
No, that was all. Thank you.
So I just wanted to ask, like, with how there's so many different types of animals and like organisms in the world, with there being so much biodiversity, is that just a result of just thousands of years of the evolutionary process, or?
Yeah, I think I've heard that like something 80-90+% of all the species that have ever existed are extinct. So there has just been tremendous change. And it happens all the time, like dogs. Dogs came from wolves, and you look at a Chihuahua and a Shih Tzu or whatever those things are, and you just see that it happens so often, these changes. So I think it's a naturally occurring phenomenon, and I see an explanation that is naturalistic.
I think a lot of people, us, everybody, doesn't quite digest how long, let's say 300,000 years is. I mean, however, you guys have been close to 20 in high teens. Imagine Methuselah, how long did he live?
900 years.
900 years, imagine that. If you weren't sick, that sounds pretty good to me. And you still live in a free country. That may not be not happening.
Does that answer your question?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I have two questions. I was sort of wondering what motivates you guys to come and like share and talk with us today. And then my second question would be like, do you guys have a problem with like us believing in God? Like, do you want us to become atheists or something like that?
I would say what motivates me is e pluribus unum, out of many, one. The American idea is that we let people do their own thing. That's incredibly important. And so from my perspective, I believe it's important that I come here as a sort of a community service to show we can get along. And in fact, it's the American thing to get along. Separation of church and state, I'm enthusiastic in support of that concept. And I think that I just like, okay, you do you, and I want to be able to do me, so.
Yeah, well, that's what this country is based on, supposedly. Whatever you believe you can do, unless it's against the law. And right now, having an atheist meeting is not against the law. But I think there's a possibility that it may happen sometime, fairly soon, hopefully when we're gone.
Roy, would you be able to answer the second question that Blaze had of what motivates you to come here to share with us?
Oh, because I love doing it, and I love learning stuff about people. And what I'm always impressed by is how wonderful you guys are. I'm talking about people at this school, how you act like gentlemen and ladies. You've always treated us well when you have questions, you want to tell us something. And that's why I enjoy it, I know, because otherwise you might be hooting and hollering out there. But you're just great kids. You're great kids.
Community service.
And that's it. That's all.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm assuming that you guys know the theory of Pascal's wager, which is like simply that why you should believe in Christianity is that like temporary suffering is worth eternal happiness, but temporary happiness is not worth eternal suffering. And while that's not why I believe in Christianity, I want to know like why you guys would potentially reject that philosophy.
Pascal's wager, right. It has implications for how we live now. First of all, I don't see any evidence to point towards Christianity as the one true truth about reality. So it's kind of like, why don't I decide that the Easter Bunny is real? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And it's because of the low evidence levels related to the afterlife. I think we don't have good evidence about the afterlife. Now, Christians disagree, right? But I believe the evidence level there is very low, so I don't believe that's a real thing.
Thank you, guys. Christian and Audrey, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you allow Tate to come up front first, since he hasn't had a chance to ask a question.
This is like Halloween, and you see the same faces come into your door, and it's like, hey, I gave you some candy, half an hour ago.
I guess I'm wondering if you guys think religion is good for society. I guess Christianity specifically. When I look at other parts of the world and areas that don't believe in Christianity, it seems worse.
So, does Christianity do good? Human beings need community. And I think Christianity often provides real community. When you show up, like I belong to the Rationalist Society, and my old friend Earl just died a couple weeks ago. I saw Earl every week for 25 years. Earl was a good presence in my life. He was a great guy. Yeah, great guy. So I think that, insofar as Christians get motivated to go out and feed the hungry and, heal the sick and do all this kind of good stuff, I think that Christian, there was just a thing that hit the news a little while ago. Some woman, content creator, called a bunch of churches, said, my baby's hungry. Will you give me some formula? And the mosque said, sure, we'll get it for you right now. So I think that this has been a function that has kept religion vibrant and going for millennia. That good people get together, they form community, and it's a natural human instinct to do good. So I think that there are some good
Thank you.
done.
Thank you, Kathy. In order to keep things moving, we got 3 minutes left. I'm going to say, Roy and Kathy, if you could just one of you answer each of these next questions, please.
So I'll just keep this quick. I have a two-parter quick question. So I understand you don't believe in Jesus. And it says in the Bible that Jesus did miracles, and I see every day there are still miracles being done today. What is your stance on that?
When I've had 3 siblings get cancer, 3 of them lived. That's a miracle in my book. I think that seemingly miraculous things happen on the regular, and I think that's a good thing. And I don't see that God needs to be part of the answer of how that happens. Just different.
And this may be a little dark for today, but what do you guys believe? Every religion has their theory about the end of the world. What do you believe is going to happen at the end of the world?
Heat death of the universe. Hopefully it is so far off. The planet missed annihilation of all living things by about 5 hours, about 10 years ago, from a gamma ray burst going through the universe. This stuff could happen on short notice. So I don't know what will be the end of the world, but I think it will be a natural process.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Christian. And Audrey, Roy, if you could answer Audrey's question, that'll be the last one.
Yeah, I just have a quick two-part question. So, back to how you were explaining how the Bible is just it's a cool book, but it's not true. So how would you explain the over 60,000 cross references in the Bible of authors? There's over 40 authors over 1,500 years. So how would you guys explain that?
Well, that could happen with any book that's written, right? I mean, why does it have to be the Bible? I don't know. Never heard that before. So I'm just not familiar with it.
And then also, how would you explain the countless written documents, at least explaining the historical things that happened, from people written outside the religion, like explaining that at least Jesus existed and that some of the things like historical evidence happened in the Bible?
Well, that's history. I believe in history. You know, I mean, somebody said, living in the year 6, said they did something. It's written on paper. I assume he's telling the truth.
Thank you.
All right, can you guys give Roy and Kathy a hand, please?